sanitation in Africa, made a declaration at the African Stand 4 in Senegal, which ensure, and the commitment was ensuring universal access to adequate and sustainable sanitation and hygiene services by 20, and ending open defecation by 2030. It has 10 commitments, but one of the key things I pick, Your Excellency, among the 10 commitments, which of course we circulated these commitments, is the commitment of government resources, increase sanitation and hygiene budget to up to 0.5% minimum of the country's GDP by 2020. If you look at Nakuru, if you look at the GDP of Nakuru, if it is our portfolio 20 billion or 16 billion, it means that we need to commit up to almost 1 billion shillings for sanitation programs. And this ties to the Article 20, Constitution 2010, Article 42 on sanitation, and the SDG call number 6.2. So, Your Excellency, just to mention, we are ready for investment, and this is what we are pitching to the partners here. That as a county government, as a going through the strategy, we had an investment plan which we also adopted. And what we are saying, even through our partner, our utilities, NACOSTEC, for example, has a portfolio, or they are ready for investment of up to 705 million shillings. And it has all details, we have all the designs done. When you meet with the team and ourselves, we can be able to share this with you. The grand total of quick investment, we're talking about short-term investment between 0 to 6 months, or if it goes beyond 1 year, we have a portfolio from the Nakuru Urban at 705 million. Nakuru Rural, we have portfolio investment of up to 738 million. This covers, rural covers anywhere else apart from Nakuru Urban and Naivasha. So what we are telling the partners and communicating here is that after the sanitation strategy has been launched, we have an investment plan. We are ready for investment as a county. From Naivasha, we have up to 1.2 billion shillings worth of investments that we are ready to work with partners here. So if you want to invest in Nakuru, we are ready for you, and we've given you the reasons as to why we need to invest in Nakuru. I just want to invite my colleague, Dr. Kariuki, to just speak shortly on the health department and how ready the department is. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer. I'll continue from where he is left, and I want to pitch for the health department. A few of you might be wondering, why health? Like they say in music, sanitation rocks in health. Because we know if we do it well, we'll reduce a lot of communicable diseases that we face in the health department. And for newcomers, Nakuru County is rated among the 5 best performers in giving quality services of health to its residents. And also, we also have a budget of 36% of the total county budget to give to health. Imagine if we save that money and put it in preventive and promotive healthcare. And this is what we want to show you now. Basically, what we want to do is to invest in CLTS so that we are able to engage with the community so that they are able to own their own sanitation issues. And as you might already be aware, we've already declared several villages to be ODF, that is, they are defecation free. We also want to deal with healthcare waste management. As we speak right now, we have a facility here at the Provincial General Hospital where we shred the healthcare waste, which is dangerous, and dispose it safely. And we microwave it. We don't incinerate it, which is a very modern way of doing it. We want to replicate the same in the farthest end of the county, that is Molo and Naivasha, so that they can serve as set rights for the facilities which are there, including the private sector. And finally, you might be seeing that we are actually going for low-lying fruits. Simple goals that can be attainable. Public toilets. We want to put them everywhere that we have humanity around here, whether they live here or they are traveling through Nakuru. If we are able to put this number of toilets in all our 11 sub-counties, and we are able to provide adequate, safe, clean sanitation and hygiene facilities, I am sure you can see it the way I'm seeing it, that we'll have achieved what we really want to achieve. A county that we don't bother much about communicable diseases. Otherwise, thank you very much. The grand total of what we want to do is about 500 million shillings. The biggest cost of it is actually in putting healthcare waste incinerators. Thank you.
Thank you, Philip. That is inclusive sanitation from health perspective and from the urban or waterside perspective. What are we saying? Lastly, that the total portfolio of ready investments as a county today is 3.8 billion shillings. And that is going to serve up to 740,000 people in Nakuru. All those investments are ready. We have the designs, we have the land. When you talk about excellent tax regime, we can be able to avail land at any given time, and I'm happy that the governor has led the way. So the total sanitation ready short-term investment, when you are calling the low-hanging fruits, will cost us around 3.8 billion, serving a total population of 740,000 people. Thank you so much. And with that, I want to take up, and quickly, Your Excellency, allow me, before I invite the Deputy Governor, to just recognize key partners that have really helped us in this sanitation journey. As we join the NACOSTEC, the sanitation strategy and commission NACOSTEC team, I just want to invite 3 people to just 1 minute each. I will manage the time, Madam Mwini. Muko, quickly, just come and make a few remarks. Please, our partner who has worked with us here in Nakuru. Just say a few remarks.
Your Excellency, the Governor, our Chief Guest today, Madam C.S. Winnie, representative of the Director of Medical Services, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed, good afternoon. Today is a great day for us as WhatsApp. I think we've been mentioned here a number of times. We've been working in this county for the last 12 years progressively, working very closely with, initially with Dr. Kingori, and we had a big vision for this county, and we saw a number of things that are slowly transforming this county, and he mentioned that. We know that one day we'd have good laws, good policies, would have proper coordination, would have good monitoring and measurement systems in the county to track sanitation. And I think with inclusion of other partners and also the strengthening of the county government, we have seen all these things coming to fruition. Today, I would like to thank the county government under the leadership of NACOSTEC and also the World Bank for making the county-wide sanitation strategy a reality. It has been our dream for a long time. And we think the investment plan that is coming up will also drive sanitation business in Nakuru in a big way. Just to mention that Nakuru has been a trailblazer in terms of what sanitation should be in Kenya. And we congratulate you again for the leadership that you are showing. And we will support more policies, more laws, more regulations, and we are doing a number of things with the CC here on developing laws and policies for water. We are working with the CC under the Public Health Office to develop regulations that will enable vibrant institutions and also vibrant businesses to transform this county. We hope very soon you will realize the dream of having Nakuru reclaim its glory as the cleanest city in East and Central Africa, and we want to be part of that journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Karibu Mungo, the program manager, country director, WhatsApp. Andrew, quickly, 1 minute.
Thank you, Engineer Festus and Honorable Governor, Lee Kinjui, Chief Administrative Officer, Madame Winnie, CC's President, MCAs, Chief Officers, Honorable guests. It is my privilege to be here today. And Engineer Festus and so my background is I'm an investor here in Nakuru County. I run a company called Sanitation that employs over 80 Kenyans here in the county. And as an investor, Engineer Festus wanted me to talk about why are we investing in Nakuru County? Why is this the county that we chose to invest in? And why is this the county that we chose to begin partnering with local governments to do waste treatment plants and ensure that waste is safely managed so we can return Nakuru County to be the cleanest county in Kenya. And as a good investor, I have a checklist, just like any good investor would, right? And the checklist has 5 things. And I like to make this a little interactive. So after each one, if you think it's good, I want you to say check. Okay? So can we do a practice? Can I hear everyone say check? Perfect. And just a little bit of background, when I was coming up this morning, I remembered that the name Nakuru. Does anyone know what the name Nakuru means in Maasai? It's a dusty town. It's a dusty town in Maasai. And what I think is important is what's said in the Nakuru County Investment Guide, which is the county of unlimited opportunities. Yeah? So I'm going to take you through this checklist, and I'm going to see if we're going to transform the identity of Nakuru from a dusty town to a county of unlimited opportunities. Okay? So first off on the checklist for any investor, any private company wanting to invest, is good governance. Check. We have NACOSTEC, we have our leaders, we have a sanitation champion. The second thing is direction. What do I mean by direction? I mean, Nakuru County is one of the fastest growing counties in all of East Africa. Check. They're not only the fastest growing, but they care about the environment. They're not forgetting where they come from, they're not forgetting the natural resources that they have in place. The third part is history and track record. Do you have a track record of partnering with other private sector companies? Check. We have Menengai Oils. We have Badai Textiles. The fourth one, do we have a private sector company needs to employ people? Do we have a capable workforce? Check. We have Egerton. We have Kabarak. We have all of our sanitation champions that spoke up here earlier today. And the last one, and potentially the most important, is there a clear vision with a leadership and a plan? Check. We saw today that the governor is a sanitation champion. We saw a clear plan presented. I do want to give a quick shout out to, I'm dropping things here, a quick shout out to the Naivasha Sub-County Steering Committee, who's also, through NACOSTEC, developed a really clear plan for sanitation in Nakuru County. And do you know what's amazing is they're continuing to deliver on this, right? So the other quick thing that you always check from an investor, right, is not only do they have the leadership and the vision and the plan, but if they're delivering. And so what came out in June of 2018 was the CIDPs. Yeah? One of the things listed in the CIDP was the county will seek to achieve sustainable environmental management. That was just in June of 2018. And you can see the county is staying true to its words. These aren't false promises. They're doing the work that's needed to achieve this. So as an investor, and as other investors in the room, I really encourage you to make Nakuru County the cleanest county in Kenya. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Appreciated your relationship between you and us, especially what you did with Naivasha Inclusive Sanitation. Daniel from VEI, Your Excellency, remember we have a heavy signed partnership between VEI and Nakuru County Government of Nakuru and VEI, the twinning of the utilities, the 3 utilities with the VEI utilities in Netherlands. Thank you.
Thank you, Festus, Your Excellency, Madam from the Ministry of Water, Deputy Governor, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I flew all the way from Ethiopia to be part of this very unique occasion, an occasion whereby a county developed strategy, a county-wide. That's unique from the presentations, I hear that it's not going to be cost-free, but it's going to save, I think, millions of people. They will be free through these processes. I would like, basically, we as VI will be in the journey with you, and we will continue to be part of this journey, making Nakuru County sanitation basically free of open defecation. And we would like to see basically, women free from backbreaking work, a child basically be free of disease, a county wide or a village wide free of cholera, and more equity, more equality of county level and Kenya-wide, and possibly even Africa-wide. Now, Your Excellency, we cannot really have a better leader or a better champion in this project. I would like to see you also being more champion in many other things in Kenya. I think you have the stamina, the energy, and the will to do that. And I just only want to basically assure you that we will be with you along this path, not only in sanitation, but in work as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. CEO Rift Valley Water Services Board. No, Madam Winnie, I can't be able to leave him out. This is national government.
Thank you very much, Engineer Festus. His Excellency, the Governor, Vicky Nyanjui, the Deputy Governor, Dr. Rorir, my boss, CIS from Nairobi, welcome to Nakuru, the Speaker of the County Assembly for Nakuru, the MCS who are represented, the CCs from around, and those who have come from far, welcome to Nakuru, the CEOs of water sector institutions who are represented, my colleagues, all the stakeholders, the MDs of water companies who are represented here, our partners, financials who have been assisting us in our project, the World Bank, and of course ADB in absentia, and our other service providers and the NGOs, World Vision being one of them, and all protocols observed. Good morning. I'm very humbled to be given this opportunity to make these remarks as one of the key stakeholders on issues to do with sanitation. And I take this opportunity to congratulate His Excellency the Governor for taking the lead and being a pioneer in the launch of a county-wide strategy and also commissioning of NACOSTEC. I want to say that the acceptability of sanitation projects is an issue. In fact, and I challenge you, the Governor, now that you are the champion, that you help us to talk to your colleagues, other governors. We are having a number of programs that we are doing sanitation projects, and some counties actually are having issues understanding. They understand the water supply side, and I know my boss, Madam Winnie Bishop, will give you the national picture of what is happening. The water supply issue is very easy, but when it comes to sanitation, people somehow don't take it seriously. So you have taken a bold step by prioritizing sanitation as one of the key things that needs to be done. Yes, we bring in the water, but what about the sanitation aspect of it? Are we very keen? And we know, of course, it is related to health issues, and I'm very happy that the Ministry of Health have come in strong to partner with us, because health is very important. All of us, we are here because we are healthy. So in as much as we take in the water, we need to be clear about the quality and whether they are safe. So there is an interlink between the clean water supply and the sanitation aspect. Of course, I don't want to spend a lot of time, but I'm going to mention a few of the successful projects that we have undertaken with the county. One of the ones we've just completed is the Rift Valley Water Services Sanitation Project, where we did quite a number of projects and the main beneficiaries are Nawasco, and Naibawas. And we were able to augment some bulk water supply. We were able to, do some extensions for sewage networks within the town and some parts of Naivasha. But we have not reached yet. We still have a number of towns within the county that we need to address. And one of the ongoing projects is the Nakuru Biodiversity Conservation Project, which we are working very well with your county to make sure that it succeeds. Because, Lake Nakuru is a Ramsar site, so we need to make sure that sanitation issues and biodiversity issues are looked at. So I'm happy that we are working with your county very well, and I'm sure we will be able to complete that project. And that will include improvement of the sewage network that we have in the town, improvement of the Joro line treatment plant, sewage treatment plant, and optimization of the treatment works for Joro, apart from working on the park itself. But we have other proposals that are also in the pipeline to address the other towns. This includes Gilgil, Molo, Kurwani, Joro, and Bargon, Keringet, and also improvement of the sewage network for Naivasha. So there's a lot that we are going to do together, of course, with other development partners. So we are very excited as a board, and we will work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We partner together with Rift Valley Water Supply. We work very well with the board. It's one of the best boards. You can report that to the ministry. MD, Chairman WASPA, 1 minute. As the CEO WASREP prepares and the Chairman Water Committee from the County Assembly prepares, and of course, lastly,
our chief guest, Madam Winnie Gushu, His Excellency the Governor of this great county of Nakuru, Kenya Jui, all protocol observed. Good afternoon. My name is Engineer Nganga, MD of Murang'a Water and Chairman of Water Service Providers Association of Kenya, the association that brings all the water companies together for the purposes of ensuring that we share experience, advocate for good corporate governance, and ensure that we accelerate connectivity to water and sanitation. We came here, Governor and other water utilities who are not from the county, from this county, for the purposes of coming to share experiences, because what we know, something that has been invented, we don't need to invent it, we just need to come, benchmark with our colleagues for the purpose of ensuring that we upscale it nationally. As the champion of this county, my prayer is that we are able to take this nationally, so that we pray for you, you'll be the champion of Kenya for the purposes of ensuring that we increase in terms of improvement of sanitation. As WSPs, we have water service providers, we have partnered with stakeholders to ensure that the sanitation agenda is realized. Over the years, we have done what we call APSAP together with WSTF, building on-site sanitation toilets, supporting the urban poor to build toilets within their homes for the purposes of ensuring that by giving them a grant. And I think yesterday there was an advert in the papers for the WSPs to apply for those grants. Please let us participate so that we can help our counties achieve the agenda of sanitation. In majority of our towns, we have also constructed improved toilets that have actually enabled sanitation to be realized. Mine, finally, as I conclude, is to request the governor perhaps to sponsor NACOSTEC so that they can come and do a demonstration in our third WASPA conference, which will be in KICC between 2nd and 4th of April, so that others can learn from Nakuru. All planes, all vehicles will be heading to Nairobi. Asanteni sana. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I needed to even just market that session. I know, Madam Winnie, we are working with the Council of Governors to support the WASPA our babies in the TOG. Your Excellency, I'm almost done. But there are three key people. I know the County Assembly Chairman is preparing, but I need to welcome World Vision Kenya just for 1 minute. These are guys who rival the government in terms of implementing projects. They are in 38 counties. And because you know my role as a NGO, I must give them some time.
Thank you, Engineer. Your Excellency the Governor, Lee Kinyanjui, Madam CAS, Winnie Gushu, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Jacqueline Rioba. I'm the Business Development Director for World Vision Kenya, and I'm here today representing the leadership of World Vision Kenya. And it's really a privilege for me to participate in this launch of the Nakuru Countywide Inclusive Sanitation Strategy. World Vision Kenya, as Engineer said, is actually working in 36 out of the 47 counties. We are a community-based organization and we focus on the child. So today it is really a great honor and privilege to see the work that the Nakuru County is doing in terms of making lives of children better. So in Nakuru, as an office, as an organization, we have 18 counties where we're implementing WASH projects. And in Nakuru County particularly, we are in Wema, that is Rongai sub-county. And we are also in Bogoini division of Subukia sub-county. And the programs that we have done in the last few years have targeted a population of about 42,128. And in the last 7 years, we have managed to reach 68% of the targeted population with access to safe water, and 61% with access to improved sanitation coupled with improved hygiene practices at household level. Some of the approaches we use as an organization is to work very closely, of course, from the grassroots. We are a community-based organization. We work with communities, mobilization, engagement at that level, but we also do some work at the national level with the Ministry of Water and also at the county level. We do joint implementation and monitoring. We are also looking at adopting low-cost technologies for WASH infrastructure. For instance, there's a technology called Sunplug technology and low-cost reinforced concrete tanks. Then we also promote business models for water and sanitation services, for sustainability, where public-private partnerships are promoted. We worked very well with companies like Grootforce in the automated water provision. We also promote water for multiple uses, and it is interesting that in your presentation, Engineer, you had the health as well. In World Vision Kenya, one of our strategic objectives is matched between health and water. So that is really in alignment with the work that we do in this county as well. We also do a lot of water safety planning and incorporate this aspect in all our water supply projects. We also do green energy technologies utilized for water supply pumping systems, for instance, solar energy. And we have a community-driven hygiene and sanitation promotion methodologies like CLTS and design for behavior change. We are piloting something in Kajiado County called Trials for Improved Practices. It's TIPS. So with those few remarks, I'd also like to extend a hand of welcome to a campaign that we are running. It's called the Global 6K campaign. And the 6K in the campaign is, we found that children walk a distance of up to 6 kilometers to look for water. And this impacts their education, their safety. So every year we work with the schools, we work with corporates, we work with partners like that are in the house, and we do run or walk for 6 kilometers with the intention of improving access to safe water, hygiene, and sanitation. And this year round, we are looking for children to be able to access water. Anne Botel, Anne, are you in the house? and you can engage and to see how you can.
In what vision we say, where is the child, as we talk about sanitation before us continue. I'd like to invite CEO Asel. Quickly 1 minute, and then Chairman of the Committee, Honorable Manano. Then I'll hand over to the regulator. Even as we do sanitation levies, sanitation strategies, we need to be guided by national regulations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Ngeno. Your Excellency, the Governor for Nakuru County, Wanaliki, Honorable CAS, Madam Winnie Buchu, the representative from the Ministry of Health, Dr. Kioko, CCs, all protocols observed. Today, it's a very important day for the water and sanitation fraternity. When I was driving from Nairobi, I heard in the radio somebody talking about what has happened throughout the country and the world on 13th March. And he quoted a number of happenings. And I'm sure when they report again, they will also mention on 13th March what happened in Nakuru County. Why am I saying this? We are never short of declarations. We are never short of conferences. But the challenge has always been the follow-up action. The follow-up action normally is the talk. And people complaining about the lack of a political will when you need to do something. Now, the political will is demonstrated not just by, but by also effective policy making and following up on effective policy implementation and the resources to go. What we are witnessing here today. It is not easy to get a governor dedicate his time like this. And for us, we are not taking for granted, Your Excellency, I can assure you. And the fact that accepted to be the sanitation champion for Nakuru County, we are also happy that we have a national sanitation champion through our Madam CAS. In fact, these days when you go to Maji House or in a meeting and you want to see her on anything, she tells you to start with sanitation. Don't, engineers are always talking about water and sewage. Start with sanitation first. And for us, it's very important and very encouraging because, as I tell my water service providers, not addressing sanitation and actually hygiene undermines the value of your water service. In fact, sometimes it can be a curse. People can ask you, oh, this water has come to mess us up. So these important steps we are taking today are critical for the water and sanitation, and I believe for the country in general. Many years ago, when the World Bank told us we are losing $270 million, today that figure has gone up by $50 million. I've seen in the pamphlets that it's now 324. We cannot afford that as a country. And I'm sure if Nakuru is able to follow upon, and I have no doubt they will because of that top level of support, the situation will be different in terms of the socio-economic status of Nakuru in the coming years. So it is really something we'd like to see, and I believe it will be followed up because the governor would not like to be associated with something that collapses going forward. The governor would like to be associated with something that is a success, and I believe whatever he needs to do, he just needs to be advised by his team in terms of resources, in terms of policy gaps and all that, and we are going to address it. So what has been lacking at this level is the coordination and the ownership, and we have it today. So what is it? Because I know partners have done a lot of work. We have done, for example, a study with partners on how water consumers can be part of sanitation financing. But even as we did that study, I continue to insist that it is not about financing itself. There is a lot of money around. It is about really making sure that that financing delivers what you have said it will deliver. And I believe we are going to get it because people are ready. In fact, the challenges that came out of that study when people asked about it are not even to do with whether they can pay or not. They can pay. But do they trust the institutions that are actually delivering that service will be given the money? Do they trust the governance arrangements that have been put? These are where we need to really work on so that we are able now to at least have the trust of the people and have the ownership of the whole process and making sure that our money delivers what it's supposed to deliver. So I really want to thank our partners for that, and I'm telling you, we will not let you down. But at the same time, the government, both national and county governments, and us all over the government must understand that we need to up the game of sanitation. We need to up it up because we have struggled a lot for resources. Of course, we are always being told you don't have proper plans and whatever. But these resources are necessary because working on sanitation, dealing with the various aspects of sanitation has a public value, and public value can only be financed through public sources, so that people understand where we are coming from and what our priorities are as a country. And our partners just need that direction. They need a vision from the country. They need the mission has never been in doubt, but the vision and that coordinated action is really what we need as a country to move forward. So thank you very much, and I wish to congratulate Nakuru County for today and for the leadership of the county executive level. And I believe with that we are able to move forward. So as the regulator of the water companies, we are supporting this process, and we continue to support the companies themselves to make sure that they themselves have the capacity to do it, and the governance arrangements are clear for everybody, so that the answerability and enforceability dimensions are basically taken care of. So it's about the governance arrangement, not about us not wanting you to do this or that, but how do you do it? The how, that is really where we come in and make sure that it's all according to procedure. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you, appreciated, and that leadership is here in Nakuru, elevated and in terms of strategic, and we know what we want as a county, and so this is speaking to the partners that we are ready for it. And I think you've challenged us in terms of the next steps. Implementation is critical. It's not about the launch of the strategy, but implementing and serving people. Honorable Kaman, kindly, on behalf of the County Assembly, and I've seen quite a number of just walked in some 1 hour ago. I think you have a good quorum of your members who have arrived. Karibu sana. We partner with the County Assembly even in this journey.
Thank you, Waziri, His Excellency our Governor, our Deputy Governor, our CAS, OCUs present, CCs, directors, and all partners who are present today, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. I'm Gadaraki Kamano, MCA Maila Ward, and also the Chair, County Assembly of Nakuru Committee on Water, Environment, Energy and Natural Resources Committee. I have my colleagues, kindly, and this turn up wherever you are. I have a number of them. Let's applaud them and appreciate them. We also have Liz Ishoki, who used to work with us here in Nairobi, in Jubilee. She's one of us down here. So today it is not possible to separate the County Assembly of Nakuru and the County Executive. That's why we are known as Nakuru County. And in terms of policy, legislation, framework, and also resource allocation, it's part and parcel of the mandate of this county assembly. So we've been working hand in hand with our CEC, director on CEOs, and also the executive arm of this county to ensure that we achieve our dreams and inspirations. So our governor, who is also our champion, and also we are here to assure that we are giving you the political goodwill. All of us who are here, without the political goodwill and representation, actually this one can only remain a dream, but is now a reality. I'm sure we're heading in the right direction. I'm sure you have a number of partners who are here, and let me single out World Vision. I've been with them in my area, and especially on the issue of open defecation. They really did a lot, and we have a positive impact in our area, and also through Dr. Lenai, who was in Naivasha by then, and also Dr. Kingori, who took over. I'm sure we have something that we can learn, other areas can learn from our area. Let me also single out Daniel from Bay and other partners. I'm sure our governor, we have willing partners all over. What we are here to assure them is our commitment in terms of transparency and ensuring that all resources allocated to this county, either through the national government and other partners, are well utilized. And we have our governor who is leading us by example And that's why he has been turning up in almost all events to assure that he's there as our leader in the county. Finally, the issue of sanitation and health are inseparable. And we cannot achieve this without adequate water supply to this county. Madam CS, I'm sure you have a lot in terms of assuring us the status, the update and status of Itara Dam, Chemususu, which are to provide water in Nakuru. Because without adequate water, this can only remain a dream. So we need a lot, and I'm sure through your leadership and also the president up there, we shall not be curtailed and sabotaged due to inadequate water supply. But I'm sure very soon we shall get the first drop from Itare and Chamsusu into Nakuru County, and also the water supply from Abadea to Naivasha. We have upcoming industrial parks, dry port. We also have smart cities. All these need a lot of water. And I'm sure in partnership with the able governor, the county executive, and also the county assembly, I'm sure we shall achieve this. And also in the cooperation and partnership with all partners who are represented here. Otherwise, I wish you well. I'm sure this shall no longer be a boardroom talk, but it shall trickle down to Anjiko down there for them to realize what has been championed so that they can also be champions at their own level. Thanks and God bless.
Thank you so much, Chairman, working closely with the county, and we appreciate. In matters Itare, I didn't say it, Simu said it, that they need water in Nakuru. Your Excellency, I'm done. But I'm looking at my four CCs, they are looking at me partly. Reason being, I'm the chair of the caucus, and they might impeach me if I don't give one of them. I did want to be the chair. Kindly allow me only one CC, Nyawinda, from Homa Bay, on behalf of my colleague CCs, to just say a few words, and then the Deputy Governor takes over the program.
Thank you, my colleague. Your Excellency, Ms. Honkin, Madam, I know we have interacted a lot, and the Deputy Governor, our fellow CECs who are here, and the directors of companies and all protocols observed. My name is Dixon Nyawinda, the CEC in charge of water, environment, forestry, and natural resources, and also the designated minister in charge of climate change, Homa Bay County. I must say congratulations, Your Excellency. This is a sign that you are leading from the front. You're not occupying your office, but you're coming out. And I must congratulate my colleague, but I must say I'm jealous. I wish this was a function that was taking place in Homa Bay. And I know I would have received a pat on the back by His Excellency Governor Cyprian Awiti. And I would have been just walking on cloud 9. But I must thank my colleague and our chair caucus, because I know out of his networking, you have a good CEC. We have here demonstrated that he's a good leader. And actually, what you are having here is a sign of good leadership. He's not only a friend, but he talks to everyone. And we like him. And in fact, if there was a re-election, we will re-elect him. But I think I'm also looking for that chair. And Your Excellency, so on behalf of Governor Cyprian Awiti, I want to bring greetings from Homa Bay. And I want to say that this is the beginning of signs of good evolution. But I'm happy now we are creating a distinction between water and sanitation. We have kept the sanitation part in the bedrooms and in the offices. This is the first time I'm seeing real conference on sanitation and real meeting discussing sanitation. And I believe if all goes well, Nakuru will provide us with a place to come and benchmark. And I want to look forward that I will bring the team from Homa Bay and copy this, because I want to promise you, my colleague, that we are not going to reinvent the wheel, but we are going to copy-paste. So on behalf of my colleagues who are sitting here, I want to ask you, let us work together, not to waste a lot of money in foreign trips, but come to Nakuru to copy and learn what they have done here. Because many other times we sit in boardrooms, we go to Nairobi, we go to Israel, we go to several countries to learn what is already here. And I want to appeal even to the county assembly here. Invite your colleagues from the county assembly of Omapi. Tell them to come and benchmark here. And maybe the money they are taking outside, let them bring them in the hotels here. Of course, you see we are standing in Woodland. This hotel is very beautiful. And I wish even those conferences you're taking away, you'll bring them here. We'll not be flying, but we'll be driving to Nakuru. Thank you very much for inviting me. And I believe that this is the beginning of good relationship. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, Wakili Nyawina. That is APOCC from Omapi and my colleagues from other counties. Maybe to whisper to you, your colleague from Makueni is here specifically on benchmarking. So I can tell you that he's doing a lot of notes. Your Excellency, I'm done. But to mention is scaling up. That is why we are here. Benchmarking, let's come to Nakuru. We are ready for you. We are going to make sure that we support you. As a chair of the caucus, we will support you to the very best as a leader from the caucus. So, welcome, Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor, take over the program, and I'm done from this stage.
Thank you very much, Engineer Ngeno. Your Excellency, the Governor for Nakuru, Mheshimiwa Kinyanjui, our Chief Administrative Secretary, Madam Winnie Bush, all the protocols observed. Good morning. It's afternoon. Good afternoon. Yes, I've seen you've sat for quite some time, Your Excellency. I'd like to give them some short interlude of maybe 2 minutes for this team watufanyisha isarakasi kidogo, at least so that we stretch our legs and then we sit down and listen to you guys as you talk to us. Please, we're giving you only 2 minutes so that you can.
Your Excellency, our beloved Governor for Nakuru County, all protocols observed, I would like to invite the front row. Kindly, please join us on stage, because the other members walifanya kazi yao mapema wakamaliza. So kindly, naomba Mheshimiwa Your Excellency the Governor, utaongoza kikosi hicho tafadhali. So we are inviting the front row first. Kindly. So if you are seated in the front row, kindly join us on stage. Led by Director James, Dr. Osare, Dr. Peter Kitianya, Dr. Ali, CEC, Tourism, Madam CAS, Dr. Chwako, it's long since I shook your hand. Please come I want to shake your hand. Thank you. Thank you. The first song, we want to thank God for blessing us with such a beautiful county. Then the second song itakuwa a celebrational song kwa sababu ya Bwana Lee ambaye ni champion of sanitation na stakeholders wote. Sami.
I'll show you how we
Oh,
done some good work, isn't it? I've just been told at the back, your time will come. Your time will come also so that you can do the same. We are glad. Your Excellency, I know because of time constraints, we will not have much time here, but I want to humbly request to invite some 2 or 3 people to present before I invite you officially to the floor. First, I want to request our Director of Medical Services, Dr. Kioko, to make his presentation, please. Thank you. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, DG. Your Excellency, the Governor, Nakuru County, Honorable Lee Kinyanjui, our chief guests today, the Chief Administrative Secretary, Minister of Water and Sanitation, Winnie Igushu, the Country Director of World Bank, Felipe Geramilo, the CEC for Nakuru County, my friend, Dr. Kariuki, and all the CCs who are here today, and the CEOs, the members of the County Assembly, Nakuru County, the distinguished guests, the representatives from the national government and other county governments who are here, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. You know, what the DG has just done is exactly what I was to do if I was given the opportunity to come here. Because it's very unhealthy for us to be sitting here for 2 hours. We are at the national level coming up with a policy where physical activity in conferences, it will be a must. We shall be playing a video where people will be stretching their legs, their arms, and everything, so that you can have your blood flow move on. It's actually fighting the non-communicable diseases. So we are coming up with these guidelines. And I was very amazed, Governor, when we were coming from the exhibition. I actually thought that you were taking us to the lift. Amazingly, you took us up the stairs. And I said, this is excellent. It is going to be actually the order of the day. That even where you are staying, you're working, and you're using lifts every other day, at least 2 days in a week, the lifts should be closed. And people should now start walking up the stairs. For us to be able to be a country that promotes the physical activity. Not just a country that is known to be a country of sports, but also physical activity for everyone. And that's where we are going, ladies and gentlemen. But I also want to take this opportunity, and maybe because I'm here on behalf of my Cabinet Secretary, Madam Sisi Kaluki, who was not able to join you in this very, very important event, but agreed to send me to come and amply represent her. Just to thank the Governor, Lee Kinyanjui, for the good work you're doing in this county. Really, as the previous speakers have said, you actually do not need to go outside this country to do the benchmarking. Just come to Nakuru County and you see wonderful things. What I've seen today, Your Excellency, this is commendable. This is very, very commendable. And it is going to be the order of the day. Thank you for taking the very bold step towards transforming this county. Of course, the issues of water and sanitation are very key to the Minister of Health. And I'm looking forward, Your Excellency, the days when Nakuru used to be regarded as the cleanest city in the country. We are going there, isn't it? Yes. And your leadership and the people and the support that I'm seeing here from the stakeholders, that's where we are going. The statistics speak for themselves. You have done the best, and the sky should be the limit, Your Excellency. Water and sanitation definitely are the key enablers for us towards achieving universal health coverage. It will not be possible for us to talk about 100% universal health coverage unless the issues surrounding water and sanitation are tackled. And I keep on saying many times the Minister of Health and the health sector is usually actually called upon to respond to issues that are faced at other ministries or other agencies and departments. And then we have issues of diarrhea, the issues of cholera. We would not be having this. And then huge investments that goes towards responding to disease outbreaks. The ill health, which is very costly. We are very proud of you, Your Excellency, for the work that you are doing in collaboration with other stakeholders. 2007, Your Excellency, when we started the community-led total sanitation and the community health services, people thought it was a joke. But we started it in a region where diarrhea and cholera was the order of the day. The community-led total sanitation worked then, 2007. We're talking about almost now 12 years ago. And we were able to contain cholera. It became actually a theme of the past because the communities were empowered. The communities were participated in these very high impact interventions, putting up a simple toilet, low cost. And now I'm seeing even more innovations of toilets that can be used at the community level. I think this is the way to go, and Your Excellency, as a ministry, we want to rally behind you and to support you in whichever aspect to improve the quality of lives of the residents of this county. And therefore, Chief Guest and Your Excellency the Governor, allow me just to go through the remarks that the Cabinet Secretary was to do. It therefore gives me great pleasure to join you this morning to celebrate the great milestones achieved through collaborative efforts between the health and the water sectors. I take note with deep gratitude that the journey to this occasion has been long and also very costly. Ladies and gentlemen, sanitation is a basic necessity that contributes to better human health, dignity, and quality of life. The economic and social benefits of sanitation create even more time for higher productivity, better performance at school and even at work, and lower the medical costs, making it even a critical component to daily living. As a ministry, we acknowledge the efforts and investments that have gone into improved sanitation. However, we are concerned that only 32% of our rural population has access to improved sanitation, and more than 6 million of Kenyans still defecate in the open. Further, only 2 counties have been declared or certified open defecation free, and there are 47 counties. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to endeavor, and I'm very glad of the champion from one of the village here who was a victim but now has become a champion. And I think we need to have many of these village champions who will be able really to take charge and enforce the interventions and the issues that we have put in place. Of course, while apparently 27% of the population in urban areas have access to private improved sanitation, most of it consists of simple pit latrines providing varying degrees of safety, hygiene, and privacy. Worse still, the functional sewerage coverage is estimated at only 12%, with 5% of the national wastewater collected through the sewer system effectively being treated. And I think this is a challenge which we need to take on head on, even as county governments. In addition, poor urban settlements have less than 20% of the population accessing improved sanitation. And as a result, our urban settlements are characterized by uncontrolled, unsightly, and indiscriminate waste disposal, leading to clogged storm drains and massive pollution of water courses. Ladies and gentlemen, poor sanitation and inadequate drainage systems have continued to contribute to disease outbreaks, and most of which are preventable. Of course, cholera is the yardstick, and a basic indicator of the level of sanitation in a county or a nation. You realize that in 2017, 34, which accounts for 74% of counties, reported cholera outbreak. It's just 2 years ago, with over 38,000 cases and 118 deaths. Very, very unbelievable. Last year, 19 counties, representing 40% counties, reported cholera again, while only 2 counties have reported cholera outbreak with 2 deaths this year. The counties of Kajiado and Narok have the ones that reported cholera. But I don't think whether Nakuru County is going to be one of these counties reporting these diseases. And I see Honorable Governor is shaking his hand like this. It cannot be. With this intervention, the efforts that we are putting in place, it is not going to be. And I think it is also is a measure of how the counties have invested in the development of their communities. Cumulatively, ladies and gentlemen, the impact of poor sanitation is catastrophic to the economy and the wealth profile. It is estimated that currently Kenya loses about 27 billion shillings every year due to poor sanitation. 27 billion shillings is actually what the Minister of Health is allocated as a recurrent budget. 27 billion Kenya shillings. I mean, it's not fair. I would therefore like to call upon us to deliberately invest in water, sanitation and hygiene programs that to avoid the emergency of diarrheal diseases. Today, the county government of Nakuru, together with its able partners, is taking a bold step to showcase a very comprehensive and robust strategic framework for sanitation with a promise of transforming the county into a clean, healthy and economically prosperous county free from sanitation, hygiene-related diseases through the NACOSTEC. And I'm proud of this acronym. Really sounds very good. Whoever thought about it, congrats to the team, NACOSTEC. I mean, it sounds nice, right? And the county-wide sanitation technical steering committee. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say, with these efforts that the county is putting in place, it takes us back to the 70s and the 80s, where this county was regarded or was labeled as the cleanest city in the country. In this regard, my ministry is delighted to be part of this loud and looks forward to working with the county throughout the implementation of this plan. And indeed, we collaborated recently to install the ultra-modern state-of-the-art medical waste management equipment, which will then contribute to improve sanitation in this county. As I conclude, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to express my deep gratitude to the leadership of His Excellency the Governor, Lee Kinyanjui, for thinking improved water and sanitation to your people. The county health officials and the World Bank Group and all partners who have either directly or indirectly provided the much needed technical and financial support to make this occasion a great success. I thank you, God bless you, and God bless Nakuru County and the people. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Dr. Kioko. Your Excellency, the gentleman I want to introduce, the gentleman who has been with us also in this journey on sanitation, and is from the national government, and we launched some of the toilets in Naivasha with him sometimes back in the beginning of the year, and is Dr. Kefa Ompasho. He's the Director of Public Service in the Ministry of Health, and I want him to make some brief presentation, please. Sorry, when he was presenting, you just arrived.
The remarks, I want to make my remarks from here because as a seasoned civil servant, that were the remarks which were being made were from my minister. But if I'm allowed, Your Excellency, first, colleagues, I'm sorry. I'm late. It's not by design, I was returned back. This is the second serious engagement we are doing in Nakuru. And I wouldn't have really, even if I was going to be very late, I wanted to be around here. I only want to say Hongera sana. Our country globally is one of the countries among 8. I happen to be chairing one of the committees globally. and I think our country is going to be piloted, and I'm sure Nakuru will be part of the beneficiaries of that piloting. Thank you so much. I don't want to really mess with the protocol.
Thank you. When we were launching this sanitation toilets in Naivasha, I was reminding Mr. Keva about a town in the boundary with near those sides of Homa Bay, a town in Migori, I think where one of the CCs come from. There's a town called Isebania. And Isebania is a town that is named after actually open defecation in the real term, because that is what it was those days. And I think once they become open defecation free, I think they might have to change the name so that it can be a good one. And I think those guys from those sides of Migori would know where it is. But I'm glad Nakuru we are getting there. And one of the things that our government gave us a big assignment when we took this was actually how can we make this work. And one of the major problems that we had, apart from this, what we see in informal called peri-urban areas, we had problems also. People were transiting in and out of Nakuru. Maybe you're from those sides of Western Kenya and you're going to Nairobi, and we see people actually doing some authentication around Nakuru County. Those are some of the people that normally bring the problems that we see in terms of authentication, and our governor gave us a task to see how can we minimize that so that we make sure we are authentication free. Your Excellency, you remember when you sent me to India, and through the World Bank project, we had some good discussion with one of the ladies here, Leonida from World Bank. So at least Nakuru is doing better. It's doing very well compared to what we saw in those sides of India in terms of, I think they will be coming for benchmarking soon also from those sides of the world because of what we've done this side. Without much ado, I want to invite the lady in charge of water and sanitation. She's a specialist with the World Bank, and she is here to represent the county director of World Bank, who couldn't be here today. Madam Pascaline Dungu, kindly please make your presentation. Thank you.
His Excellency Governor Lee Kinyanjui, thank you very much for hosting us. The Deputy Governor, thank you also for hosting us today. Madam Winnie Gushu, the Chief Administrative Secretary at the Ministry of Water and Sanitation, and now a very good friend of mine because we talk a lot of sanitation matters. Dr. Kiyoko, the Director of Medical Services, I hope I got that right. All protocol observed, good afternoon. My name is Pascaline Dungu. I work at the World Bank based in the Nairobi office as a water and sanitation specialist. I am standing here today representing the country director of the World Bank Kenya office, Mr. Carlos Felipe Jaramillo, alumni, because he couldn't make it today. He had sent a representative, our program leader in charge of human development, Mr. Paulo, who unfortunately also had to leave earlier. We are having a huge commitment because of the One Planet Summit. And actually the acting president of the World Bank will be coming to Nairobi. So that means that we have a lot of, our management has a lot to engage on. But Mr. Paulo did meet with the governor this morning, and he gave the commitment of the World Bank to continue working with Nakuru County. And we are all very proud of this launch and of this initiative. So before I give the remarks of the country director, please allow me to make some few remarks of my own, because I'm actually leading the team that has been doing this sanitation initiative together with Nakuru County. And so I am very, very proud today. Nakuru has broken the box, has gone out of the box, and has shown not only Kenya, but the world. The world is watching, honestly. The world is watching. Globally, we are watching to see how Nakuru County is going to do this county-wide inclusive sanitation, because it's completely aligned to the SDGs. It is the shift that we all need from MDGs to SDGs, because we know the big agenda of the SDGs is leave no one behind. And I think that is one of the gaps that we had with the MDGs that were more focused on the sanitation facility, but now we focus more on the people, on the service delivery. Before I recognize my team, I think we have been mentioning NACOSTEC all morning. Again, I think I'm allowed to break protocol. I'm not a seasoned civil servant like Dr. Kepa. So allow me to break protocol here and just acknowledge this team that has been working so hard with us. We do not take credit as the World Bank. The COSTEC takes the credit. I think we have seen the co-chairs. We know you as a patron. We know the advisors. But I think it would be good to recognize the team. I know maybe that one was coming somewhere down the line. But even if it's just by a wave or standing because they are conspicuously dressed today, if you allow me to just ask the team to NACOSTEC team, the core NACOSTEC team, to Thank you very much. This is the real team behind the work. So if there's any learning to be done, it is from these people, because they are the ones who have been doing the actual engagement. You may have your seats. And from our team, we have, if you may stand, my team, we have Leonida Sarah here, who is our guru on rural sanitation. We had Mr. Charles Oyaya, Dr. Charles Oyaya, who is our institutional and policy specialist. And he's also a lawyer, so has been very supportive of the program. And we have Engineer Tripat Mangat, who tells me that he tells us how he knows the Nakuru system, particularly the water system, because he has worked here for a very long time. So, Governor, my very personal commendation for having worked with us. I still remember that first meeting that we had with you. And when we put forward that what we want to support Nakuru County to do first is strategizing and planning. And I think strategizing and planning in Kenya is not very much liked for good reasons, because I think we tend to strategize and plan and not do the actual work. But in this case, it was very important to think about sanitation differently, so that we stop seeing sanitation as sewerage only. We stop seeing sanitation as only work that is for one department, but to look at it from a multi-sectoral perspective, to have a team like you have gazetted, NACOSTEC, that can do all coordination of sanitation matters. So congratulations, and we are very happy that you have led the way. And again, we even hope that we will be taking you even outside to talk to other countries about what you're doing in Nakuru. We hope that this will be successful and can be replicated in other counties. With that, allow me to just read the statement from our country director. In September 2015, countries around the world, including Kenya, adopted a set of goals, the Sustainable Development Goals, which were to end poverty, protect the planet, and boost prosperity for all. And this was the new agenda, Sustainable Development Agenda for 2030. SDG 6, as we all know, is set to ensure access to water and sanitation for all. According to the 2015 SDG baseline, 4.5 billion people around the world don't have access to safely managed sanitation, with nearly 1 billion still practicing open defecation. In Kenya, those numbers stand at about 20% of the population. Only about 20% of the population have access to safely managed sanitation, while about 12% still defecate in the open. So you ask yourself, but why does sanitation matter? I think it has been said here before, the link between sanitation and health, the link between sanitation and our country's economy. Access to safely managed sanitation and hygiene services plays a critical role in developing human capital. And by the way, the World Bank has launched an initiative that we're calling Human Capital Index, Human Capital Project, which is trying to look into the indicators that lead to human capital development. And of course, WASH is a critical one. Lack of safely managed sanitation has major health impacts. Kenya's Ministry of Health estimates that a significant proportion of the country's disease burden is caused by inadequate sanitation practices and unsafe drinking water. The repeated cases of cholera outbreaks from 2015 that resulted in needless deaths reminds us of the need to promote hygienic conditions and practices, including simple ones such as hand washing with soap, which can be very effective in interrupting transmission routes. Poor sanitation is linked to stunting. It is estimated that in 2014, 26% of Kenya's children suffered from moderate to severe stunting. Childhood stunting, as we all know, can affect both educational and long-term productivity outcomes. WASH interventions which reduce community levels of open defecation or improve drinking water quality have been shown to have significant effects on reducing under 5 stunting. Again, lack of clean and safe sanitation facilities affects the education of our girls and rolls back the gains of women. Clean and safe toilets help to keep more girls in schools and improves attendance rates. As caregivers, women are often more adversely affected and more at risk of getting cholera than men because they tend to be the ones that are caring, for the sick at home. As has already been mentioned, Kenya is losing a lot of money, about 27 billion annually due to poor sanitation. The number could have even gone higher because those are the estimates for 2014. The economic losses are due to premature deaths, the cost of healthcare treatment, lost time and productivity seeking treatment, and lost time and productivity finding access to sanitation facilities. Pollution resulting from improper disposal and treatment of wastewater and domestic fecal sludge also affects both water resources and ecosystems. So what is the World Bank doing about all this? Globally, we are working with countries to help them rethink sanitation. And you might have seen outside this citywide inclusive sanitation call to action that is done together with other partners, including the Bill and Melinda Gates. So in the case of Kenya, we use that same approach. We are using that same approach to provide technical support to the government of Kenya to address the country's sanitation challenges. And as part of this, the World Bank together with GOK initiated the Countywide Inclusive Sanitation based on the principles of citywide inclusive sanitation, but which encompass the entire geographical scope, that is the rural, peri-urban, urban, and the whole sanitation service chain, right from containment to disposal or reuse of fecal waste. This approach, as has been said before, has been applied to Nakuru through the strategic planning process, which is spearheaded by NACOSTEC. NACOSTEC has successfully prepared and adopted the sanitation strategy being launched today and is in the process of finalizing the sanitation investment plan. We hope that this exercise can be replicated in other counties to ensure they leave no one behind mantra of the SDGs. And as we heard, we have Makueni here who will also be engaging with Turkana, will be engaging with them on the same approach. And we are glad to note that Homabay is also interested in using the same approach. I would like to commend the Governor of Nakuru County, Honorable Vic Kinyanjui, also crowned as the sanitation champion for his leadership and for establishing a legally recognized sanitation coordination forum through the government of NACOSTEC. I recognize that Nakuru County is already championing commendable sanitation initiatives, including through using fecal sludge to produce briquettes that are used for cooking instead of charcoal. I urge the county to continue exploring opportunities for converting fecal sludge and wastewater into valuable resources, that's including nutrients and soil conditioners and energy. The World Bank looks forward to the implementation of the sanitation strategy and the investment plan. Thank you very much, and we will continue to work with you in this journey.
Thank you very much, Madam Pascaline. Your Excellency, just before I hand the mic to you, just want to appreciate also the fact that the very first bill that you signed when you came into office was the sanitation bill, which actually gave birth to what we are seeing here today, the sanitation bill, and of course the gazettement of the NACOSTEC team, which has made this very possible. I want to thank you for leading from the front, and we want to say we are your foot soldiers, and we shall always support you wherever we can. I don't have much to say, but to welcome you, Your Excellency, so that you can take the program from there.
So thank you, Dr. Korir, our Deputy Governor, our Chief Guest, our CAS in the Ministry of Water and Sanitation, hereby also representing the national government in our programs, and we appreciate that. We also have our DMS, our Director of Medical Services, Dr. Kiyoko, who also represents the Ministry of Health, which is also a critical partner for us. We also have a host of non-government actors led by the World Bank, World Vision, and all the other partners who are here today. We want to take this opportunity to thank you for partnering with us and making this day a success. We don't take it for granted. But before I go on, I think this being my first public meeting since the beginning of the week, and in view of the tragedy we had over the weekend, and also recognizing that in Nakuru alone, we have lost 7 people. The tragedy that happened in Addis Ababa, we have a family that has lost 5 members of their family. We have a nun from Subukia, and also the general manager for security at the KA, who also comes from Kiamunyi, also lost his life, and he comes from here. I hereby wish to request you that you stand up for 1 minute so we honor those who have gone. Thank you. Our hearts and prayers to the families, and Daniel, who is also one of our partners, comes from Addis Ababa. Also, please accept our condolences. Region, we have suffered a big blow. Now, allow me once again to say that we are happy for this meeting and also for the partnership. We got into office about 1.5 years ago, and immediately we got into office and set our skeleton team. We had many issues to deal with. But one of the biggest was the issue of cholera. I remember in our first days, one day I saw a small headline from Naivasha saying cholera in Kihoto, and I called our administrators in Naivasha wanting to know what could be the problem. But I know many of you may not appreciate what a small headline about cholera in Naivasha would mean. But if a company was planning to come to Naivasha for a conference, if tourists were coming to Nakuru, to Naivasha, and they had this cholera in Nakuru, will they come? So these sanitation issues have a major impact on how we do our business. They impact our hotels, they impact employment, they impact all the economies that you may think about, and therefore we decided with Engineer Ngeno and the entire team that we must take sanitation issues with the seriousness they deserve. And I think what we are simply trying to do through the formation of this team is to appreciate first that you cannot be able to deal with sanitation from a water point of view. In fact, I think for the longest, we have not differentiated between water and sanitation. In fact, most of the times, apart from now when you have water and sanitation, we say the Ministry of Water and hope that therein there must be sanitation. So we have not paid adequate attention to sanitation matters. And I think as a result of ignoring to deal with sanitation matters over time, we are also paying. And I was just remembering when I was member of parliament for Nakuru, you know we have this CDF money that comes, and occasionally we get requests from the members of the community. And I remember if you went and proposed that you want to do maybe sewage and all that, it was a very unattractive proposal. Because what has happened with most of our government projects, they want projects that you can show off, projects that you can parade and people can see. But if you take 500 million, do a sewer system in an area and then finally cover it, what will you show after 5 years? Will you take people to a sewer treatment plan and tell them how you have worked in the last 5 years? So as a result of that, over time, sanitation investment has been low, even from the national government. We'll talk about investment in roads, investment in water, investment in wildlife and hospitality, but rarely do we talk about sanitation. And this is not a story of the last 2 years, it's a story that can go back as far as 20 years and so on and so forth. So as a result of that, we simply are trying to say that the reason that has happened is that we have not been able to connect sanitation with our economy, sanitation with tourism, sanitation with education. I was relating a story today where I visited one of our schools in Naivasha. They have a population of over 1,000 students. About 60% of that are girls. But the streams they have for the toilets are about 10. So what happens is that by the time the bell rings for the children to go back to class, over half the girls are still queuing. So what that simply means is that because they don't want to be punished for not going to class on time, they will go back, but they will keep dashing to go to them. And as a result of that, again, we impact adversely on our education. And I was telling my colleagues, members of parliament, members of the county assembly, that indeed we cannot allow those things to be happening today. That a girl's education is being adversely affected. And I'm saying girls because for boys, they don't mind company. You know, but for a girl is one at a time. So if you have 10 toilets for boys, probably you need 30 for girls. And I think this is something we have not taken into account, especially noting that sanitation is a basic human need. So again, we'll be working with our team and specifically looking at education, because we have a strong feeling that if we don't address some of these things, our education, especially in public schools, will be dealt with, will be adversely affected. And we don't hope that to happen in our county. So again, it's an area that we're saying sanitation has an impact on our education, and a big one for that matter. As Dr. Korir said, there's the issue of open defecation. I'm told we are at 2%, and I am happy to see the lady who stood here from Naivasha. She's our champion there. And I think we really want to see more and more of these at the basic community level, because all these conferences we hold, even at our county level, I think at the bottom of this whole conversation, we want to see that mama on the ground who will stand up and educate her people, sensitize them, and stop them from doing behaviors that eventually will contradict their stay there. What most of them have not appreciated is that once that happens, and finally it rains, that whole water again comes to your water places. So if the community is able to connect between their behavior and the cholera cases they have, and the diarrhea cases they have in their dispensary, then that changes a lot. I was happy today as we were going around through the stands there. Our director of public health was telling us that the more we have invested in toilets in certain areas, the lower our budget for diarrheal diseases has gone down. So if you go to areas like Naivasha, the amount of money we were spending to treat sanitation-related illnesses maybe a few years ago compared to now, it is going down. And therefore, we would rather spend that money not in treating, but at the grassroots prevention level. And then Nakuru West, I think, is a good case study. I'm told it's down by about 23 million, and in Naivasha, about 41 million shillings. So that is a significant improvement. And that amount does not include the downtime. The time you are not able to go to work, go to school, go to the market, because you are unwell because of those related conditions. So again, if you are to compute all those, the cost even will go much higher. So we hope that we'll be able to get to zero open defecation. And I know India should really have a lot to learn from here. I have also had an opportunity to visit India, And I think also partly because of culture, you will find somebody squatting and they are talking with another one. I think it's normal business going on here. We finish, we go, you know. So I think some of those cultural practices we have there are really behind. So we are way ahead. And although I'm told we're at 2% that we have not been able to conquer, I'm also hoping through this team, through Ngeno and Dr. Karaoke, will be able to overcome that 2% and also lead from the front when it comes to this war. Allow me also to say that we are also looking at the issue of inclusivity. Today, as you are discussing there, we had an opportunity to see some of the good teams in Naivasha that are also looking at how we can be able to have sanitation access to persons with disabilities, people who are indisposed, people who are terminally ill and therefore cannot be able to go out, and how we can be able to manage that in a user-friendly way and also where you have dignity. And it's also good to note that they say that water is life, but sanitation is dignity. So also for our persons with a disability, we have done a lot to ensure that our buildings are compliant, there are ramps, you can use the lift, even in towns, we are also making that attempt. But I think beyond that, they may not go to those tall buildings every day, but every day they must visit toilets. So I think the first level of compliance we should be talking about is compliance at the sanitation level. And if they feel, you can imagine if you are a person without a disability, sometimes when you're going to town or you're going to visit a place, where you go to the toilet is not a big issue because somehow you will get a place to go. But if you're a disabled person, you have to plan your journey way ahead, knowing that if you go to that place, even accessing the toilet itself might be a problem. Finally, when you get to that toilet, because of the circumstances, you may not be able to use that particular facility. So again, we want to pay tribute to the team from Naivasha that is doing a marvelous job, offering very basic solutions that seek to address a very important matter in the society. And we hope that in days to come, with the World Bank and all our partners that are here, we can be able to work to help these particular solutions, not just for the few who can make it, but for the wider society. Many of you will also appreciate that in our homes, we also have many people who are indisposed because of various illnesses, and as a result of that, we need to make this facility really more and more available and more usable. I'm also happy to note that as we talk about inclusivity in our sanitation programs, we are looking also at public toilets. I know many years, like in Nairobi and also in Nakuru, if you went to a public toilet, it was often a clean toilet, you would be able to go and walk out. But it is true also today that most of our urban centers, we don't have those facilities. You probably have to go to a hotel. Some hotels, of course, will not allow you if you're not spending any money there. And I think also as urban centers, we must look into investing in this area because really that brings a lot of inconvenience on how we operate if some of these facilities are not there. I know here in Nakuru, just like in many other places, we've had problems of once the toilet is done, then it's taken over by a certain youth group, which later converts into maybe one or two people, and getting them out there becomes a big problem. Last year we had to deal with a few wars about one gang controlling the toilet vis-a-vis the other. So again, it loses the purpose because it's now gang controlled. And really that is an area we need to look at. How people can be able to have dignity in public toilets and how those facilities can also be made clean and user-friendly. And I think as a county, we are looking up to this committee that I chair to have solutions in this regard. Now for Nakuru, it's also important to note that we have a very delicate ecosystem. And like any other town in Nakuru, in Kenya, if we don't manage our problems, our town is actually on a gradient. So you have the crater up there, you have the urban center at the middle, and lower there you have the lake. So if we don't manage our business, it will finally end in the lake. And therefore, we have a delicate eco-balance that we must manage all the time. So we do not have the luxury of deciding whether to work on it, whether to deal with it or not. It is something we must. And the same story is the same for Naivasha. We have a similar gradient all the way from the town coming now with high population growth, urbanization. Naivasha posed to be a major industrial city, we expect the populations to go high. So we must really think ahead before some of these things happen, because if we don't do that, we will be trying to catch up, and it will be too late, especially for these cities that are going on. Now, one of the areas that we've had a big problem, I think really is a planning problem, and I'm happy the team leader for Alban did mention about this, is third world countries, we are generally very poor in planning. We plan after we have already built what you have built. We come, we plan a city, we forget we'll require bypasses, later we come demolish the houses to put the bypasses. So again, that is the same thing that is happening across. So new urban areas are coming up, but there's no planning for sewer. There is no planning on how we're going to deal with these issues. So again, it will be very difficult for these towns that are coming or emerging to later conform to the need for sanitation if we don't include the planning now. And as much as we're planning for the roads, for urban spaces and all those other things, I think it must be very clear that we require also master plans for sanitation, then not just master plans for now, maybe for the next 10 to 20 years, given the population dynamics, so that we are not always trying to play catch up. And I've challenged my team here, because we are working with very experienced planners in the World Bank and other non-state actors. We have requested them to come up with a plan for the next 20 years, so that we can be able to say, with every 5% growth in population in Nakuru, how do we continuously expand our program to accommodate the increasing population? And I think that is a conversation we'll be having in days to come. And therefore, we want to maintain our eco-balance. We want our tourism to continue in Lake Nakuru and Lake Naivasha. We want the people who come to those hotels to enjoy, but we also appreciate that the biggest threat to that will be issues to do with sanitation if they are not properly well done. Now, the other thing is also to take note of some of the innovations or green solutions that we have found here today. I want to specifically thank NAWASCO, who have the Macar.com, which is a product that comes from the wastes from our sanitation processes. And also to say that as a county, we particularly think that this is one of those programs that if we got good partners to work with, we have said that for every ton, we are saving 88 trees. So if you cumulatively looked at that, in a year, if we're able to invest more, and if Kenyans got conscious of the fact that if I use this charcoal, I'm saving the environment, then we are likely to have a huge demand for this product. It's going to be self-sustaining, and it's also going to help us solve an environmental problem. So, again, for NAWASCO and Sanitation, who are also in that program, we want to thank you for that, and also to request our partners to come together so that we can help these two entities that have done good innovation, and also to ask many others who may be interested in some of the programs that can help us solve these issues to come forward so that we can move together. Now, it was mentioned here that we cannot be able to win the war on sanitation if you're working in silos. If the Ministry of Health just looking at health issues without looking at the broader sanitation challenges, the Ministry of Water is doing just that. If roads, who are in charge of our storm water here, do not look at the bigger agenda, we end up in a bigger problem. So, in our envisaged program and how we want to work on this, is that we want to bring all these stakeholders together. And I think also more importantly is to ensure that our CIDPs, which guide all investments in the counties, are also aligned to acknowledge this. And therefore, when it comes to budgeting, we can be able to put funding in these particular areas and open our areas so that we don't have these challenges going back and forth. Recently, I was talking to my health team and had requested them to come with our doctors, the Cuban doctors, and I'm sure all the counties have 2 Cuban doctors that were given. So I was asking them their experience so far since they've been here in the country, and whether we are getting value for their money here. But with the little English they know, the only thing they kept on saying is, Kenya cost of health expensive, very high. Why? Is because we are dealing with health at the curative level. We are doing very little to prevent. It would take probably 200 million to deal with sanitation in an area. But instead of taking that money to forestall all diarrhea problems that we have there, we would rather go and buy anti-diarrhea drugs. So we buy this year, we buy tomorrow, we buy year 3, year 4, year 5. So I think, and I'm happy that our Director of Medical Services is here, it is time we start and look at some of these conditions are very conditions we can be able to deal with. And I'm citing this because I have asked for a budget, looked at the drugs we are currently buying, and asked if we are able to invest in the next 5 years, can we reduce 50% of expenses in drugs in this particular category? And I think this is a conversation we can expand all of us as a nation so that eventually we can have results in this particular area. And therefore mine is to really say that we want to work together. We appreciate the partnerships within the county, the 3 departments that are involved, but also with our partners. Because when you talk about rural sanitation, that is often forgot. Sometimes if we don't think about these whole things, all these issues together, it becomes a big problem. In the rural areas, with the land challenges that you're having, with the urban explosion that you're having, it means like in Joro, where the average land holding was maybe 20 acres, it is reducing maybe to half an acre, a quarter acre. If every family is to have a pit latrine, and within it, within the same land, they will also require to have a borehole for water, then eventually we are going to have very serious problem in days to come. So we really need to plan ahead, we need to invest ahead, and I'm sure if we do some of these programs, we can be able to move together as a county and also as a nation together. Lastly also, allow me to thank all the counties that have come here. As a COG, we recognize that no county has a solution to all the problems. But together through organized peer learning, every county can learn something from the other county. And as has been said here, if you repeat a problem that has already been experienced in Homa Bay or Makueni, you will be doing a big disservice to the taxpayers in your own county. Because you'd have learned that mistake, avoided it here, and done the right thing. So we also take this opportunity to also request our team some of the outcomes of these particular experiences that we are going through, working with our partnerships here. It is important that periodically you share your experiences with other counties so that together we can be able to match. Because when it comes to health, health has no borders. Health has no counties, has no district or constituencies. We must all be able to work together. So it's an experience we are ready to share with our partners, and I'm sure in the long run we will work together. Lastly, in the big investments that we have seen in the recent past, including dams, here we are beneficiaries of the Itare Dam, and we thank the national government. We know there are small challenges, and I want to say small because it's about the bankruptcy of a contractor, and really that is not a mistake of the county or even the national government for that matter. We just hope that the national government will be able to resolve this matter in good time. We were planning to start drinking this water from May 2021. We have not changed that expectation. So, Madam CS, as you go back, we would want you to express our apprehension at the state of affairs right now, and also to request the minister and also probably the head of state to step in so that this water that was to come to Nakuru and is a major component of our getting into a city status must be unlocked, because we cannot be talking of becoming a city. We have no water, our industries are not well supplied, and this really becomes a major issue. But I think more importantly also, as a committee, we were working with Nakuru Water, Rift Valley Water, to look at the other end component, because finally when the water gets to Nakuru, we're required to have a system to ensure that the water is actually taken off, is processed, and that we do not have big problems. So we are happy working together with KFW, together with the ministry, that the program we are working to have the sanitation component completed is going to be done in good time. And I think with that, we'll be ready to go. So with those few comments, I want to once again express my gratitude and to thank all of you who have come here, visited us from far, and to assure you that in a year's time, we'll be giving you a major scorecard on the achievements that you have made so far. Thank you, and God bless you. It is now my great honor and pleasure to invite the CAS in the Ministry of Water and Sanitation, Madam Winnie Gushu, to give her remarks and also convey the message from the Minister. Welcome, Madam.
Thank you very much. The Governor, Lee Kinyanjui, Governor of Nakuru County, Deputy Governor, Nakuru County, CECs from Nakuru County and other counties, government representatives from different ministries, especially Ministry of Health, World Bank representatives, represented by Pascaline Ndomo, and all CEOs from the different institutions, all development partners, distinguished guests, dear participants, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Now, I want to start by apologizing, giving the apology of the Cabinet Secretary, who was supposed to be the chief guest at this launch and was unable to attend. So usually what we do is we split roles. You go to that one, you go to that one. And I was very, very happy that he was not able to come to this one. Because I really am very passionate about sanitation. So every opportunity to do sanitation, I'm very happy to actually be now the chief guest. Now, before I take you through his speech, I just want to talk about one thing. And in relation to what the governor has said, he has said that people don't like talking about sanitation because it's something that's closed up. When I was a young girl, I used to work as a women's rights activist. And one of the things that we did with a lot of vigor is to champion around sanitary towels. And we started, I'm very proud to say that we started it. And when we started it, sanitary towels were not things that were displayed like the way we saw at the exhibition. You see a whole load of sanitary towels. At that time, sanitary towels were hidden in black papers so that there's no chance you'll see a sanitary towel. So you don't see them, you don't talk about them, you don't hear them. But as you all know, they were a hindrance. They were a sanitation issue for girls at that time. Not going to school for 3 or 4 days when they're having their period. And when we brought this issue to discuss in Parliament, and we were talking about sanitation, the members of Parliament then told us, what are you guys talking about? These young girls, they think they can talk loosely to MPs about sanitary towels, and we were thrown out. And the story ended. So we went back and we strategized. And we said, you know what? We have to be heard. And this issue of sanitary towels has to be sorted. And after sitting and deliberating, very young, a group of very young, energetic women at that time, the solution was brought up by one of the girls we were sitting with. And they said, you know what? Men think money. The only way to get through to these people is if we relate this issue of sanitary towels to money. So the next meeting we had, we said, do you know how much money you spend in your house on sanitary towels per month? And they said, what? I said, yeah. Who buys sanitary towels for your wife, your daughters, and so on? Who maintains the house? Ni mimi. So how much do you spend on sanitary towels? Sijui. So we did a calculation. And then they said, no, but that's a lot of money. We said, yes, but that's what you spend. Because you're the one who buys. And they were like, no. And then the point we're trying to make is to move sanitary towels from being a luxury item, because it was being charged tax at that time, at the same way tax is charged for beer, cigarettes, makeup. It was being charged like a luxury item. And what we're trying to do is to say, remove the tax on sanitary towels. So the day that they realized that they spent so much money on sanitary towels, then the discussion went on, and that is how tax on sanitary towels was removed. Why am I telling you this story? I'm telling you this story because to make sanitation relevant today, and for people to open their ears and listen to us, who are sanitation champions, we have to think about shit as money. It's the only way we are going to win this. We know, the other day we were having a discussion and we were saying that people are going to be paying us to drain our septic tanks. In the same way, used newspapers, people buy them from us. Before they never used to buy. They were a nuisance. We used to wonder, what do you do with this newspaper after you've read it? But the minute they learned that it can be reused to wrap certain things and to wrap goods, then now every time you have a kilo of newspaper, you don't throw it away, you go and sell it. Now, as soon as people realize that draining your septic tank translates to money, very soon, instead of them charging us to take our waste, we are the ones who are going to be charging them. Why? Because if we start doing reusing our waste, and we have seen out here in the exhibition, we saw fertilizer. Was it fake or real? It was for real, isn't it? And I know it's for real because we always use urine as fertilizer when we didn't use toilets. When you come out of the house at night to go and pee, there's some, and you know you have to pee when eating. So you go into the maize and you pee. So what are you peeing on? Maize. What are you doing to the maize? Providing fertilizer. And the place where we used to pee more is where the maize used to become. Is this true or false? Is this true or false? It is true. But then when we start talking about it now, and then people start saying that, oh, we are going crazy. But really, it's for real. So what we are doing, we are not saying that we continue with open defecation. That is not what I'm promoting here. What I'm promoting is, let us pick the waste, let us clean it up, and let us make it let us use it properly. And we have seen it demonstrated out here. If you have not gone to the exhibitions, please, I want to urge you to go and see some of the good work that's going on. We're getting fertilizer from urine, and we have seen how some of them have created toilets that separates the wet and the solid waste, so that the urine goes directly to make fertilizer, and the solid waste goes to make briquettes, or to make coal. What are you calling them? Those things that you use to cook. The briquettes. The briquettes that are being used like charcoal instead of going to buy charcoal. So there's a lot of money that we are losing every single day, because all of us are going to the loo every single day. And what are we doing? We are sending all this thing out to waste. We don't want to see it, we don't want to talk about it. So what we are doing is that we are either getting sick, so we are spending money. If we convert how much money, like the governor has said, how much money are we spending to treat ailments that are completely unnecessary? We don't need that kind of medicine in our shelves at all. How much money are we wasting by just letting this sludge just go? And when we're letting it just go, it's ending up in water. So then we're making, to treat water, so expensive, because we've thrown all the waste inside that water. Then to get that water to drink now, there's another expense of cleaning that. So if you do the amount of money that we are spending just to make sure, out of not using fecal sludge properly or urine waste properly, it is costing us so much money, whereas it can be a money maker. So we need to change the narrative. We need to change it to say that actually fecal waste, urine waste, and all that waste that is human waste can actually be translated into money. And it can be translated into saving so much money in our annual budget and push that money to something else. But we really need to really start talking about it and advocating about it and not being shy about it and just continuously talking about it to the stage where people are now they're advertising the best briquettes because they are coming from the best sludge collected in the most hygienic manner, and I don't know. Anyway, we'll get to know how to market it when the time comes. Now, having said that, I think one of the things that we have heard quite a bit about is open defecation. And to carry this conversation further, and I'm very glad because open defecation is a discussion that we are now engaging in despite the cultural barriers that we are having. And we need to move now, not forgetting to continue to talk about it with a lot of emphasis, but to start talking about collection, transportation, treatment, and reuse. And this conversation needs to happen among all of us, all the different stakeholders. And this can only happen if we are able to look at, the other day at the devolution conference, at the tent of water and sanitation, there was a lot of emphasis from the county government representatives. And the county government of Nakuru, the CEC, was bragging and saying the way they have a sanitation strategy, and invited everybody who care to listen to be here today so that they can launch. And people were saying, what? How? How come these people have a strategy? And we were challenged by other CECs in that conference, and we were told that no. And they started saying, you know, the ministry doesn't tell us about the master plan. I don't even know whether they have a master plan or not. All we need to do, all we did. And I said, okay, let's cool down. Everybody cool down. What we are going to do is we are going to have a meeting. And I want to promise you that we've already agreed that we are going to have the meeting with all CECs of water to share the master plan on sanitation and water. We are also going to have a session where we are going to take you through how to develop an investment plan, so that when you do your master plan, there's money attached to it and it can translate to becoming a budget. So I think that is something that we have committed, and I think we'll do it between the first or second week of April, depending on availability of the CECs. So I think we've taken your sentiments seriously, and we want to support you so that you catch up with Nakuru. Okay? Now, let me do what I was sent here to do, because now I've hijacked. I've gotten excited about being the chief guest. But let me go back to what I was sent to do and read the speech of our cabinet secretary, who would have really loved to be here. I just want to read the speech on his behalf. And ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to be invited to this forum as you launch the countywide sanitation strategic plan. I'm pleased to be able to participate and share with you some thoughts as we embark on the implementation of the plan. From the onset, let me emphasize that the constitutional requirement of the right of every citizen in Kenya to have access and reasonable standards of sanitation has been aligned with the Kenya Vision 2030 and with regional and global agenda. The global agenda includes the Agenda 2063 of the African Union and the National United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. The achievement of the sanitation targets will be achieved effectively and efficiently if the plans are mainstreamed in the two levels of government. The alignment appreciates that access to improved sanitation installations is important for human dignity, self-esteem, gender equality, and poverty reduction. This is important as sewage and sanitation coverage in Kenya is low while the demand is high, and hence its development requires acceleration. Interventions in sanitation requires combined efforts with players in other related sectors like health, education, and environment, and at different levels. As per SDG definitions, the proportion of the Kenyan population using safely managed sanitation services as at 2016 is 20%, while basic sanitation services is 5%. Sadly, 12.5% of Kenyans practice open defecation, which is a serious concern for the country. The policy goal under Vision 2030 is to increase sanitation coverage in urban areas to 100% by increasing coverage rate of sanitation at 80% and installation improved on-site treatment facilities for populations not covered by sewage systems. Water and sanitation play a central role in sustainable development and improved access to water and sanitation. This can break the disease poverty cycle and therefore contribute immensely to the wider agenda of poverty alleviation. The negative impact of insufficient water and sanitation services on education and productivity of the population is equally huge. Many rural households have to spend many hours per day fetching water from unsecured sources where water quality is not guaranteed. The burden is borne by women and children for whom there is no time to attend school regularly. Urban households disposing from on-site sanitation have their sludge disposed of at nearby sources of water, contaminating ground and surface water from which is a source of water, and the downstream dwellers draw their water from drinking from that same source. By including water supply, sanitation and hygiene in the SDGs, the world has acknowledged the importance of their promotion as development interventions and has set a series of goals and targets. Ladies and gentlemen, sanitation, mainly regarded as a household issue, does not receive the same attention as water. One reason being the fragmented responsibility among various players and the fact that adequate coordination mechanisms is still missing. Considering the existing constraints regarding excavation of excrete through sewage systems, it becomes evident that large-scale coverage of sanitation can only be achieved with basic sanitation installations responding to national minimum requirements such as the number of users, functionality, social accessibility, security, and environmental compatibility. Collaboration with development partners, beneficiary communities, non-governmental organizations, private sector in mobilizing the necessary human and financial resources required for sewage sanitation undertaken must be aggressively pursued. This will also include both development and management resources. Ladies and gentlemen, central to the effectiveness of the interventions in sanitation is how well they link with the work on the health and water sector. For the multiple-disciplinary approach to work effectively, far closer links will need to be built between the country sector policies, strategies, advisory services, and implementation approaches among those working on water and those working on health, as well as the private sector. All players in the sector should increasingly recognize that water and sanitation are essential public services as much as health or education are, both within the county and country programs and within the international aid architecture. I am of the view that there should be written evidence to realize the linkage between the three sectors by ensuring that cross-referencing to water and sanitation appears throughout health programming and vice versa at county, country, and international level. Ladies and gentlemen, sanitation enhances dignity, privacy, and safety, especially for women and girls. It improves convenience and social status. Providing improved sanitation facilities is a liberating development for women and girls and is providing sustainable benefits for the whole country. Women should be key stakeholders in the sustainable improvement and should play a vital role in raising awareness about these issues. Ladies and gentlemen, Ladies and gentlemen, improved disposal of human waste protects the quality of drinking water sources. Reuse of uncomposed waste for agriculture is an environmental as well as economic gain. At present, each year more than 2 million tons of human waste and vast quantities of wastewater and solid waste go uncollected and untreated around the world, fouling the environment and exposing millions of people to disease. How can we make good use and recycle our waste? Another issue that deserves special mention is the sanitation versus groundwater debate. Indeed, it is the subject of a complex debate concerning the need for a clean environment on the one hand and improved health through sanitation on the other. Arguments revolve around the accessibility of certain levels of groundwater pollution in order to achieve public health benefits for households' latrines. The development of new technologies can therefore be very relevant in this context, especially for urban sanitation. Dear participants, at the Ministry, we have developed and are promoting specific policy objectives that target a scale sanitation interventions which include: 1. Improvement of operation of sewage treatment, sewage system, and acceleration of their extension through the regular framework. Promotion of efficient disposal of wastewater at user level. Also, promotion of water resources and prevent flooding of human settlements by insufficient treated affluent by introducing sanitation technologies with safe disposal of affluent. Promotion of concurrent development of water and sanitation facilities in order to reach overarching national goals. Development of a framework of action to be able to support all stakeholders involved in the water sector for sanitation. The benefits of the reforms so far generate a water supply shall also be made available for sanitation. Ladies and gentlemen, improved disposal of human waste protection and quality of drinking water sources, reuse of wastewater for agriculture in our environment as well as economic water sector institutions, and the potential of the increasing well-functional funding mechanisms shall also be used to improve access to sanitation. Mobilization of increased funds for sanitation and provide incentive for implementation will also be looked at. Concentration on the sanitation hotspots, including densely populated urban, low-income areas and other underserved regions, will also be looked at with keen attention. Dear participants, I'm reliably informed and very glad to note that the Nakuru Countywide strategy recognizes and approaches the following key issues. 1. Wastewater disposal is indispensable for water supply provision. 2. Promotion of sustainability through cost recovery, which may include charging of sewage services levy, monitoring environmental factors. 3. Promotion of recycling of industrial water and wastewater for individual supply system. 4. Supplying appropriate sanitation options, especially in rural areas, as a means of improving health through participatory planning, training, and research. Monitoring and evaluating the process towards realization of sewage and sanitation goals. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, we are again pleased that Nakuru County leads the way in bringing sanitation and water back into focus after taking its eyes off the ball in recent years. the increasing of financing for sanitation and water will not automatically ensure universal access to these basic human requirements. Capacity at local and national level to implement scaled-up efforts on sanitation and water is a particular source of concern. Training more water and sanitation professionals who understand the local needs and can design and maintain systems, as well as carry out the critical tasks of collecting data on progress, is of single importance to ensure new development money is invested sustainably and efficiently. This crucial element, I understand, are well articulated in your strategy, and I congratulate the county and its leadership for the great strides it has made. And during this forum, I would like to congratulate the governor and the team that has been working to make this strategy a reality, and wish you all the best in its implementation. Also, thank the World Bank for the support that they have given. Thank you very much.
Madam CS will not allow you to leave the stage. Unfortunately, all said but not done. Madam CS, please, you can come here. Thank you very much. Can you all stand up, please? Can you all stand up now? All said but not done is the official launch of the
nchi ya amani, tunajivunia Kenya nchi yangu, nchi ya amani, nchi ya upendo, tunajivunia Kenya nchi yangu, nchi ya amani, nchi ya upendo, Kenya mama yangu, nitailinda, nitaitukuza maishani mwangu, bila Nakuru ukajione, kuna migo mifano sibata chui, bila Nakuru ukajione, kuna migo mifano sibata chui, bila Nakuru ukajione, kuna migo mifano sibata chui. Kenya nchi yangu nitailinda, nitaitulinda maishani mwangu. Kenya nchi yangu nitaitukuza, nitailinda maishani mwangu. Fika Mombasa, vuka bahari, ogelea maji, majini ya chumvi. Fika Mombasa, mwisho wa bahari, ogelea maji, majini ya chumvi. Fika Mombasa, vuka bahari, ogelea maji, majini ya chumvi. Kenya, 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 Kenya ya maua. Kenya, 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 Kenya ya maua. Kenya, 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 Kenya ya maua. Kenya, 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 Kenya ya maua. Fika Nakuru, kaone mwanamke. Kenya, Kenya, Kenya ya maua. Ukifika Nakuru, wageni wetu wote. Kenya, Kenya, Kenya ya pendeza. Kenya, 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 Kenya ya pendeza. Kenya, 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 Kenya. Ile ngoja kidogo. Nataka unibadilishie kidogo. Ninaomba wageni waheshimiwa watingike kidogo. Naona wamekaa sana. Ije, faster. Wana mbele bayaye. Bayaje mwenye wana mbele netekwe. Wana mbele bayanze mwenye. Bayanze mwenye. Aya wana mbele bayaye mwenye.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you have waiting for, the official launch of the Nakuru Countywide Sanitation Strategic Plan is here. I want us to maintain that kind of silence. In the count of 10, we will start going up, please. In the count of 10, so we are doing 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Let's start with this. Asante sana. Now from here, we want to allow them to officially this document. We will officially allow them to sign this document, and I will have our CS becoming the first signatory to this, followed by His Excellency the Governor of Nakuru, Honorable Nakuru, followed by our DG, His Excellency Dr. Eric Korin, Director of Medical Services, World Bank Representative Pascaline, I hope you are here with us, CC Water and CC Health. Sawa sawa. The rest of us can just clap as we do that. Please give us some music as we do that. Which color do you prefer? Red. Red. Let's clap for our people as signs. Makofi. Wow. Signature.
Oh Masai ka Yesu wanje kagira ngenda Masai ka Yesu kagira ngenda Hey hallelujah kagira ngenda Hey hallelujah Hey damu ya Yesu wangu imeniyoka wa jamani damu ya Yesu Hey baba ye hallelujah imeniyoka mama ye hallelujah imeniyoka damu ya Yesu wangu imeniyoko wa jamani damu ya Yesu imeniyoko baba iwe haleluya imeniyoko baba iwe haleluya imeniyoko damu ya Yesu wangu imeniyoko wa jamani damu ya Yesu imeniyoko baba iwe haleluya imeniyoko baba iwe haleluya imeniyoko.
Director of Medical Services, Mr. Kyoko, I have 3 colors. Which color do you prefer? Blue always. Let's clap for him, please, as a science.
Kosovo, Lucy, Kosovo, Lucy, Kosovo, Lucy,
on the side here so they can take a photo, yeah?
Slowly, mama, slowly, mama, slowly,
Just a minute, please. See the hand? 3 colors, which one do you prefer? Blue. Good.
Wanwadika Yesu, wanwadi, hallelujah, wanwadika Yesu, wanwadi chamuki, wanwadi dalawawe, hallelujah, wanwadika Yesu.
Before I leave you, I am told 1 community member should sign. Yes, where is that lady? Huyo mama ako wapi? Shotoka. Wataka ragi kama.
Gai wakwa ni munene, gai wakwa ni munene, gai wakwa ni munene, gai wakwa ni gai. Gai wakwa ni munene, gai wakwa ni munene, gai wakwa ni munene, gai wakwa ni. Gai wakwa ni munene, gai wakwa ni munene, gai wakwa ni munene, gai wakwa ni gai.
Now, can you see to the front here? All the books, please. All the strategic launch book that you are doing today. Can they come forward here, please? Just a minute. So to officially peruse through when we are up here. I will be inviting all of you to sign if you wish after this. It's just for the purpose of time. Where are the booklets? Oh, please. Yes, just pass them over here. Just in front here. The chairman can do it actually. Our chairman can supply to start by the governor. Start by the governor and our CS. Give, okay, give everything to the governor. Thank you. At the middle of that, the governor. Maybe a good photo for camera. Just
Yoni ngotume, yoni golewe, yoni golewe, yoni tendoso, yoni tutuko, yoni kalsalu, yoni tendoso, yoni
For 2 minutes only. Let's take our seats, please. Let's take our seats and then we finalize with a vote of thanks and a prayer as we pray for lunch. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much. That was nice. The Nakuru Countywide Strategic Sanitation Plan, Countywide Inclusive Sanitation Strategy, March 2019. If you feel like you need to sign, we'll be allowing you to sign as we move out. All of us can get a chance to sign as we all move out. Thank you very much. At this juncture, allow me to invite the chairman of NACOSTEC, and we will invite his team. Okay, so and let me just ask the NACOSTEC team to come in front here to be officially commissioned by the governor. Governor, if you can come forward, please. Leo ni siku yako ya kuamka. Karibu sana. This was one of the items. Item number 2 was to commission this NACOSTEC team. So is the whole team around here? Come forward here, please. Just come up here. NACOSTEC. So now the governor will officially hand you the document now. Kazi ianze. Kazi ianze. Kazi ianze. I want only one document up there. I want only one plan up there. Just give it out. Just one plan, and then we'll receive, or we need a number of copies for everyone. Who are giving us the? Who are giving us the? You can just come. I did it. Before we do it, let me give Governor to say a few words and officially commission this committee and hand each every member a copy of this plan.
Thank you. We take this opportunity to thank you for the job well done so far, but also to remind the job that lies ahead is even greater. We have confidence you'll do the job, and in a very short time, we hope to start seeing results from now moving forward. We'll also have a system of tracking progress every so often, so that we don't have to wait until the end of the period to ask what you have done. So periodically, we would want to see reports of what you're doing, and incrementally, we can be able to increase our pace. And we'll also be working with our health teams to ensure or to monitor whether there's a drop on the indicators that you have already said. Otherwise, it's to wish you well and to assure you that you have full confidence in this team. Thank you.
Just a minute. Just to mark this commissioning,
starting by the chairman and the co-chairman of this NACOSTEC committee and all the members. The governor will be handing over the plan to them. As we clap for them, please. Let's clap for them. Asante sana. That is the co-chairman, Mr. Njuguna. Let's clap for him, please. Our member, who is our CEO for water, Engineer Job Chomwe. Let's clap for him, please. Yes, receive a copy. Let's clap for them, please. Let's not get tired. Let's clap for them, please. And there's a big team as you move this side, yes. Let's move over because of space. Tuwapigie tu makofi tusichoke tafadhali. Wakina mama hawa na mandugu zetu wanapoenda kufanya kazi. We will be back here after 1 year to ask them questions. Let's clap for them, let's clap for them. I'm told the governor is equally very engaged. Aha. Kazi ianze. Let's clap for them, please. Let's continue clapping for them. Thank you very much. This is an NACOSTEC team that is expected to implement this strategic plan. Let's clap for them, please. This is the team. We will be back here in the next 1 year. Asante sana Kiyumba, Bwana Ndiama. Asante sana. Our technical manager, Naruasko. Asante sana. Governor, while you are still there, I want to allow the chairman of the team to say something.
Your Excellency, we are very happy and we are very grateful for your time. We are assuring you that the vigor we have put to produce this document is the same way we are going to work on it. In just a few months, we are going to give you the strategic investment plan. And then we are hoping that the people who are here who wants to be with us and partner with us, that they will be with us and we will show you what we have done. So there is an assurance and a commitment that NACOSTEC is going to deliver. And you can whip us if we don't. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We can take our seats. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, you can take our seats. Thank you very much. Let's do a round of applause for that. Please. A good one. A good one. Thank you very much. I've been asked to run through very fast because of time. The vote of thanks here, you can have this. Very fast vote of thanks. Of course, let me appreciate all our major partners. I had mentioned earlier at the beginning, Ministry of Water and Sanitation, our CAS, convey our regards to the ministry towards this successful launch of this plan. Equally, our Ministry of Health, our Director of Medical Services, Bwana Kioko, convey our message, and of course the Council of Governors, our Governor Bwana Lee. When you go back to the Council of Governors, tell them we are very happy. We are very happy. We want to appreciate also the main financier for this, which has been World Bank. They have worked very closely with us. Of course, I can't mention Nakuru County because we are part of it. And equally want to appreciate our key sponsors. If you've seen here, we had the Water Services Trust Fund, Rift Valley Water Services Board, Water Sector Regulatory Board, Water Sanitation for the Urban Poor WhatsApp, Sanitation, Vitals Evidence, Waterworks, we had Davis and Shatlive, we had Trans-Africa Water, Epicenter Africa, Ground Force, and of course WASPA and World Vision. You really assisted us. For us to get where we are today, we cannot forget to mention you. We should want to appreciate other partners who have come from very far and say thank you very much. We have a number of CCs, not only from our county, but first of all from our county, who have supported the CC for water and sanitation for this. I'm seeing my good friend CC for Trade, Honorable Kentenia is here. We want to thank you so much. Convey our regards to the other CCs that we really appreciate what they have done to make us to be what we are here. Of course, our CCs from other counties, represented by, of course, the CC from Homa Bay, who spoken very well. And I want to invite you to Nakuru one more time. This is not the end. This is just the beginning. And we wish to invite all the CCs from other counties to come here for the benchmarking, and ensure that everything is done accordingly. We want to appreciate all our water companies. I know they have participated. They have worked with us very closely to ensure that this is successful. We want to, I know their names are not here, but we want to appreciate them. We equally want to appreciate our County Assembly of Nakuru. The Chairman Water has spoken, and he has given us the surety that surely from their side they will do all what is necessary to make sure this thing is a success. Kindly, Chairman, convey this to our Speaker and all the members of the County Assembly. I want to appreciate that equally very much. There are a number of us who are here from different institutions. If I don't mention you, you'll forgive me. I know there are so many, and there are people from different sectors. Of course, I've mentioned Davis, who are working with us very closely. But there are also very special two categories I want to appreciate. I want to appreciate the members of the community, the normal people from the villages. Akina mama na wazee, let's wapigie makofi tafadhali. Yes, for coming. Show. And the other lady na wazee ambao wamekuja kuona hii leo, tunashukuru sana. Hii kazi ni yenu. Hao wananchi wako hapa mbele tukawafanyia kazi. Kwa hivyo kukaa mbele ya kumaanisha chochote, kazi ni kwenu. Kazi ni kuwafanyia nyinyi wenyewe. And lastly, without forgetting, let me appreciate the members of the state, the media. Let's clap for the media, please. It will be very important that you also get this and convey to the general public our message. We have some partners who have come from very far. I hope I've mentioned Vale. Yes, I've mentioned Vale. My friend who came all the way from Ethiopia. When you go back, as our governor said, you convey our message of condolences to the people of Ethiopia and, of course, other nations who are involved in that tragic plane crash in Addis Ababa. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let me request you to stand up. As I invite Madam Emily Lemanton, World Vision Nakuru Region or Nakuru Office, to do the closing prayer. After this, as she comes, I want to inform you that lunch will be served at the Cinnamon Restaurant below here. I don't think there's many technicalities regarding that, but we'll just, as we leave this ballroom, I will request we allow our chief guest, first of all, space to leave, and after they have left, we can accompany them for lunch. Lunch will be served at the Cinnamon Restaurant below here. After that, CC Homa Bay, I want to convey a message from CC in Nakuru. He is requesting don't go back to Homa Bay today. He is requesting don't go back to Homa Bay. And most of the visitors, Bwana Kioko, don't go back to Nakuru, to Nairobi today. This town is wonderful. I am not authorized to speak about the nightlife, but let me just assure you that it's a good town. If you want to spend a night here, you feel free. We have very nice hotels, of course, this being one of them, and a number of them within Nakuru city. We are actually becoming a city very soon. So for those visitors who have come from very far, don't please go away just like that. Enjoy Nakuru, sample Nakuru. You can pass through the governor's office. Ameniambia ofisi yake iko wazi kabisa. Ukiwa na jambo kumwambia, atakusikiza, especially if you have very good news for us or you want to learn from us. We appreciate very much. Sawa sawa. Thank you very much. God bless you. My name is Carlos Cheruget. I've been your master of ceremony. Thank you.
We want to give thanks to God because of this wonderful day and because of the launch of the county, the strategy, and also for the committee that will be steering the work that is ahead. So let us believe and pray. Thank you, Lord, Father, because of this wonderful day that God you blessed us with. We want to thank you because of our county leadership, Lord, Father, that has given us the light in order to see that our sanitation improves in this county, Lord. We thank you because of the committee that has been commissioned today, Lord Father, and that God, for the inspiration that you gave us today, for the discussions and deliberations that we've agreed on, Lord Father, we want to pray that each one of us will be able to support and give a hand to our leadership, Lord Father, so that we can be able to see the fruits that are there ahead of us. Lord Father, we want to pray that the discussions that we've had today is going to bear fruit,
and that it will not go under the carpet, Lord Father. We thank you for the inspiration, we thank you for the wisdom, and Lord Father, even as we break, we want to pray that you bless our journeys to our different destinations, and God bless each and every participant who was here today to celebrate this day. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Thank you very much. Those who want to sign, the pens are right here. You can be signing as we go slowly by slowly. Let's allow the chiefs to leave their own.
Harambe, harambe, tukune pamoja. Harambe, harambe,